Finance to work on this, and also Virginia Turnage, who's the accountant over the 2002 tax fund. So I invited them both here just as so they can get some input from the committee and hear the discussion. So basically what we have is the results that they're not completely audited yet, but we believe that they're, as is what we presented the auditors to audit, so they should be relatively correct. So we had revenues of a little over 34,505,692, offset. It's a committee.
Don't we vote to send something to the board?
Yeah.
Yeah, we vote. So you have to have, in most committees, you must have a quorum to vote.
Okay.
I do have another person coming that we need somebody else. I don't know.
How many do we need for four?
How many people do we?
Well, I mean,
It depends on, are
I
there
do have
bylaws?
another person. I do have another person.
the diocese would be one vote, one committee and one vote, leader would be one vote, and then the board appointment is usually one vote. We have a vacancy for the board appointment. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, usually,
So it has to
6,
have.
7. The
It's
two committees, so
actionable.
we have 4, usually 4.
Because you all take action.
We have
There has to be a form.
I'm a voter.
How many?
I'm one voter.
Are you a voter?
Do I not vote? I don't vote.
Yeah, so that rules, right?
So we need one more person?
I was waiting for Emily, we know other person with I was waiting for her to come. She tutors, so
Okay.
I was waiting for her. She told me 5:35 she'll be here, so I'm waiting for her. Yeah.
Okay. We'll wait.
So it sounds like we need just one more person.
So,
So we may want to look, because we've had people that are representatives that have never attended a meeting.
So we might need to change that.
So you probably need to either rethink who's on the committee or get somebody else to represent that organization.
So we have nobody from central office themselves, accounting that's on the committee?
Not that we show as voting. So where's the votes go?
Well,
We're down in the store.
yes, so there would be one representative from the diocese, one and an alternate from Lafayette, one and an alternate from the well, one and an alternate from Newton. Then this are board appointments, Mr. Hefner, and this would Melinda Mangum, who's deceased and has not been replaced. And then we have our teacher groups.
So we have a vacant position, does that count in the board? We have one of the board member appointments that's vacant. Andre.
Yeah, Andre's here.
Thank you, Andre, we're in quorum.
Oh, I'm here.
Have a seat,
Doesn't matter
son.
where I sit at the time.
So how many members are we
Voting, set.
7 voting members, so we have 4, we good? Okay, let's restart this. So I'd like to introduce the accountants for the fund, Ms. Anthony Mutar, Director of Finance, and Virginia Durnage, who's the accountant 3 over the 2002 tax funds. Our financials are listed in the first column as the actual. We have revenues of $34,505,692, total expenditures of $27,748,595, which gave us an excess of revenue of expenditures of $6,757,097. Started with a beginning fund balance of $19,357,306, with an ending operational reserve of $26,114,403. We pull out the reserves that have been scheduled for backup to these expenditures, which gives us a residual of the $12,914,403. We currently have an estimated employee count of 2,301. You add the salaries and benefits overhead, so what we're presenting today is 5 scenarios. One would be a pure payment of the excess distribution which would be $4,445.56. If we were to, in a scenario, present a $250 permanent salary increase, that would drop the excess distribution to $4,064.54. A $500 permanent salary increase would drop the excess distribution to $3683.52. A $750 increase would drop it to $3302.50, and a $1,000 increase would drop it to $2921.48. So that's kind of the scenarios. The second page kind of gives you a history of over the years since the tax has passed, and we were able to accumulate a big enough reserve to pay out payments. The payment history over time from 06 to 21 is listed on the right. So the question is, the discussion on what recommendation to the board as potential of what kind of excess distribution or a combination of excess distribution and salary increase would be applicable. So I believe 2 years ago, we were told, the board had expressed an opinion of coming up with a raise every 5 years. We did a raise last year, but superintendent is getting some feedback from board members that we wanted to present some scenarios to the committee today. You know, and this is strictly a recommendation. You know, what we've seen what has happened in the past. We all have a history of different recommendations being changed by the board based on feedback from the teachers. Historically, any of these raises would be higher than the highest raise, which was in 2013.
Yes.
I also want to reiterate, you know, this was a very good year with a lot of economics,
Yes.
money put into the system. We are looking at potential recession coming upon us. We're looking at potential drop in oil prices. So from the economic standpoint, this is maybe an anomaly. Anytime we give a permanent raise, it is a permanent raise, and we can't take that away. So and keep that in mind in the scenarios of what is feasible and what is sustainable. I would say.
I have a question for you. Last year's $750 salary increase that we did, I see a reserve of $2.4 million associated with that. Should that have been reduced? Because $2.4 million and 80%.
That wasn't the board moved to put the 2.4 in, so we look back at the actual motion.
Okay, so they did not reduce
They
it
did
down
not
to
reduce
80%.
Yeah, they kept it at 100.
Okay.
Technically, it would have been 1.8 million, but like you said, the board was 2.4.
Okay. So what you see in the scenarios, if you just explain that the reserve is at 80%, which is 80% of the $3 million we think it would cost, and then of course the raise expenditure, because we would technically start paying the raise in November 1st, that's your 123. So you have 123 days to work from November 1st to May, whenever the last day of the 182 work year is. So that's how we divided it. Our auditors pointed that out recently, so we changed that calculation. Last time we did 10 and 11 months, but really it's on work days. So you would have at November 1st, 123 work days, so your daily rate would be adjusted. Then the full raise would be hit next year in any of those scenarios.
So,
Yes, ma'am.
no, thank you. So the the increase that will be put into the salaries until the next year?
No, it'll be in this year,
It will be in
but it'll
this
be
year.
a prorated amount based on your daily rate. Now, the question that's come up, no matter how we pay you, it counts for your job. So regardless if it's a one-time check or a raise, it's going back and forth. If you get paid money, it's returned. If you work overtime, it's returned. You get credit for return for anything we pay, regardless of how it's paid, when it's paid.
So the salary increase, the $1,000 increase, how much would that be per year, Matt? Or
Yes.
that'd be per year for how long?
Permanent.
Permanent. I'm just asking. The next question, since in the 2,324 teachers that are getting, this was asked to me by a retired teacher comes back as under critical shortage and in full time, do they get this, yes or no? I need to be,
They would, yes.
they will get
Yes.
this, okay,
Now,
all right,
if
just,
they come back under critical shortage, it depends on when they retire, if they're eligible to get their full salary in their retirement. But when they come back in and they get their salary, they get what every other teacher gets.
Right.
So, okay.
And they would get
so-
the payment.
Yes.
So they get,
What
so they,
get.
so they would get, so if they get, and just for some clarity, John. So that means if a retired teacher comes back critical shortage, they're teaching full-time,
Yes,
they're getting their, still getting their retirement or whatever, still, and then they, but they can't get it, they're still getting retirement and still teaching.
yes.
Oh,
It
okay,
depends on, so the retirement benefit and the salary depends on when you retire. If you retired 2010 to July 1st, 2020,
right,
you can get it. But if you retired after July 1st, 2020, then it doesn't work for you to get that money. It all depends on your retirement.
it do,
But once you come back as a teacher, let's say you've retired, rehired, or whatnot, and you're getting your retirement benefit and your salary is the same as any other teacher would be. So whatever we add in for here for all teachers, it's all teachers.
it was a, it was a question, you know, that was raised to me by, you know, as
Oh, yeah,
a
because
retired educator.
there are, and I know this is off topic, but it's relative. We're doing that returning and retention, all those stipends. The people who have retired and come back, they're getting those stipends. So you're eligible to get anything a regular teacher would get.
Right, and I think that's, so, I didn't mean to come off topic, but it was just something, it was a question that was asked, you know, to me. And it was because a lot of retired teachers said, well, we don't get that. I said,
Yes,
I don't
they
think
do.
that's true.
There's nothing
I said,
in
I
the
don't think,
system
right,
that makes them separate from other teachers. So they get whatever a regular teacher gets, they get.
gotcha.
And they would have to be employed on the day the board declares it. That is the day.
Okay, so that
They can't
means,
be hired the day after, they can't have quit the day before. They have to
Gotcha.
work that day, because
So
we
that
have
means
a cutoff.
they have to be hired, I guess,
Before
before
that board,
The distribution.
before the board
as
meeting.
of that day of the November board meeting, they must be hired.
That would be the check, not the salary schedule, this is salary schedule.
Right.
We're talking strictly about the check on the day of
Right.
board declaration.
Right.
Okay,
I have some serious concerns about our economy, I'm sure as most people do. I've been on this committee dating back since 2006 or whatever, way back. I've always pushed for us to have salary increases. I think that is a possible Pandora's box at this present point in time. Any increase that we do on the teacher's salary schedule, if I'm not mistaken, the LPSS will make an adjusted salary or generally will make an adjusted salary table for an administrative side.
For the instructional and administrative side,
They have, yes, sir.
in the past, they
And in the past, they have.
Now,
So
there have been times when the two have been different.
there has been, but it has been a strong push to make them
Yes, sir.
equal or, you know,
okay,
matching increases.
yes,
So any increase that we do will put a burden on the school, probably will put a burden on the school system as far as the administrative getting a similar type increase. So it's, whatever we do doesn't just affect us. In all probability,
Absolutely.
it's going to affect all of LPSS, not just the teachers. I don't want to see us put out a high increase in salary and next year we go into recession and people are going to be losing jobs. When people start losing jobs, our sales tax are going to be dropping. And yes, we have the reserve to quote unquote keep us up, but there's going to be a strong push to start reducing people and people are going to be leaving the parish, leaving the state, et cetera. The most I could possibly personally condone would be like a $500 salary increase, and I really hate to even push that. I'm really concerned about the economy. Also, if there is a larger check that is distributed, then we will get a rollover effect as the people get that check. That's $4,000 or whatever amount it is. They're gonna go out and they are going to buy things. Yes, they're gonna put some of that aside, but they're gonna buy things. As they buy things, that will increase our sales tax revenue more than simply the salary increase. When people get that $100 salary increase per month, they don't feel like they got a whole bunch. They're not gonna go out and eat. They're not gonna, eat at a restaurant an extra time per month. They're not gonna go out and buy a new car because they got a $100 a month salary increase. Okay, somebody gets a $4,000 check, they may distinctly make the difference in them not making a purchase like a new car or making a purchase. It may give them that option. My recommendation right now is for the full disbursement of the $4,400 approximate to each teacher.
Comments?
Go ahead, Jennifer.
How many unfilled positions we still have, Mr. Mouton?
Yes.
Mhm.
Uh,
I would say roughly 30.
So about 30. So if they were to get hired between now and then, you said they would get the.
They would get this.
If the board actions, they would
Yes.
get the check.
Yes.
But even if they get hired after that, they would still get the raise,
Yes.
Yeah,
but
but
not the check,
but not the
but
check.
not the check. Cause I hear what you're saying about the economy and stuff like that, but salary schedule is what we can recruit on. And I
That's
know
right.
we're eking out a little bit ahead of everybody else right now, right, as far
In
as
the
the salary
region, yes.
schedule?
Yes.
A little bit.
Yeah, so, I mean, I would like to see something, put us a little breathing room between us and the other parishes, cause it's musical chairs between us and all of them. And I feel like if we can keep bumping up the salary, maybe they'll decide to permanently sit down in Lafayette Parish.
Yes.
I just, our students need teachers in the classroom all year long, not
Yes.
just until October, you know? So I feel like we have to do something, because you can still give 250 or 500 and still cut them a sizable check. Is that the largest check that's ever been distributed?
No, no, it's
Yes, the history is behind it.
This is behind it. I thought this was large.
This
Which one, what was the
In this
largest
case,
one?
okay.
Yeah, so the largest one ever was $2,200.
Yeah.
So even with the $500 raise, that would still be the largest check ever issued.
Right.
I
I
think we
was-
should give something, either 250,
Yeah.
I agree not to go too high, but at least the 250 or the 500.
Yeah, I
Put
had
a
looked
little
at the
breathing room
file.
between us and other us and the other parishes, you know? I mean, it's like they are still trying to steal teachers from us, like
Right,
actively. I've had people say they've been approached by people from Iberia
or other places.
to come over to Fosham, so.
And after I've been to most of the, a lot of the schools or whatever, speaking at a lot of the schools, and that's the thing, that's what discourages me.
The only thing I want to bring up, and I'm not trying to give an opinion either way, but this happens. When we're talking about losing people and poaching people and whatnot. If we, a lot of times, once this check is issued, then we see an uptick in resignations. They're gonna stay till they get this check. Because they know the check is coming. And then sometimes we will see a slot, not mass, but we will see resignation, so keep that in mind as well.
I know one thing, this weekend, last year, we spoke at the board last year, and I know that our two little sweethearts over here, are strongly, may not go for the full pay. There could be some people that may not go for the full pay. They're really considering the pay rate. It's some kind of increase. There's some people that still considering the salary increase. And I understand, Mr. Mouton saying, there are people who do, they take it and run, and they go other places. But, this is what this tax was designed for. Designed to help our educators to get some kind of pay raise. Because I was in the pandemic of the 10-year pay freeze. I was in that pandemic. I was a part of that pandemic. That's what I told them last year. I was a part of that 10-year pandemic. And we didn't do it. It would be a plus to have it. So what's the pros and cons, guys, of passing this, to get this going?
I think Philip and I think they both outlined it, pretty clearly. You have a risk if we have an economic recession that hits us, and fuel price of oil goes down, and we end up with exodus. And we have some reserves, but that would only last a few years.
That's
and
what I was.
by state law, we cannot reduce salary, so you end up having to reduce headcount, which is increasing teacher ratio. I mean, a bunch of cuts of other things, but it's hard to do anything budgetarily in the system without touching the ratio, because it's just such a huge part of the budget.
if we don't have like teachers and if we have empty classrooms, eventually with no teacher, eventually those kids have to go somewhere. That's gonna have to increase the class sizes of another teacher. You can't have kids sitting for years and years on end with no like teacher in their classroom. You know, that's students should be the driving purpose, you know, behind everything we do, and I just think that a raise better serves educators and students, you know, like I get that like they might, you know, like that there could be a recession, but you know, we need teachers now. Like just betting on maybe when there's definitely, that we know for sure there are empty seats right now, like empty teacher spots. I just can't pass up an opportunity to fill up classrooms, you know, like,
Can I go
because
back?
if those people leave for their jobs, they're taking their kids with them. So we're gonna have a corresponding reduction in students too. You know, it's not gonna just be just adults leaving, and then I hope they're not, nobody's abandoning their children, you know.
Unfortunately, there comes a reduction in FP also.
Well, yeah.
I go back to the intent of the tax as well. I think what the voters were intending to approve was an increase of teacher salaries, not a larger like bonus check. So that's why I would be inclined to support as high of a salary increase as possible while still being sensitive to the economic conditions and not wanting to set us up to where we're in a position that there have to be layoffs. So
Right.
the 500 could be a good compromise where it is a salary increase, but it still protects against a downturn in the coming year.
Because that is always a possibility, and right now, looking at a recession, that is a strong possibility. We don't wanna see this so depleted to where there's nothing, you know, and we starting back at zero.
Is there does anybody have any more discussion? There's actually not a motion on the floor, but.
I'd like to make a motion.
Yes, ma'am.
I move that we recommend to the board the 500 salary increase.
And I'll second that motion.
It's been made and seconded. All in favor?
Um,
That's what I
I'm not sorry, but I'm she is.
I believe it's unanimous from the 5 represented votes. So, that'll be the recommendation. That was the only thing on the agenda. Do we have anything to discuss or motion to adjourn?
I'll second that motion as well.
All in favor? We're going home. Thank you.
Y'all have a beautiful evening.
Well, so-
have a good meeting.
Miss Irma.